I'm going to sharpen the teeth on this stump grinder, and I don't know if I can get a good enough close-up on this or not, just to show the rounded edge that I'm getting on this. The sun's kind of blinding me. I don't have it in a position to get a good shot at it, but probably get a better shot in the shop once I take it off. But yeah, the edge is really rounded. It's kind of shaped kind of like a horse hoof, but it needs to have a sharp edge on it, and it's rounded off. And all of these out here in the front are, now these that are set back a little bit, what I mean by out in the front is out in front of this, the wheel itself, like these up here and these here, they're all out here. But these that are on the side are not in as bad a shape, because this is like the second time I've sharpened it since I sharpened all of them. When I sharpen all of them, yeah, they're all sharp. But when I do in between, I usually just have to do these that are sticking out in the front, like these. And that's probably what I'm going to be doing today. We'll find out when we get it cleaned up. And another thing, it looks like I got into some carpet or something. This is the hydraulic motor that turns the thing, and there's a seal in here, an oil seal, that is a problem. You got to make sure vines and real thin green like branches that can wind around stuff, pieces of rope or anything like that. This seal could have done me, this piece of carpet that's in here could have done me some damage. I don't know yet. I'm going to get it out of there. Doesn't seem to be leaking yet, so I'm hoping we're okay. We'll get that out of there. That's got to go. That's important to get that stuff out of the shaft that comes out of this hydraulic motor. We don't want that getting in there, in that seal. Got that carpet off of that shaft. Took a little bit. Quite a bit, isn't there? Let's see my foot down there. That's how much carpet there is. I'm going to stick a crowbar in there and clean some of this dirt out of this fender. I don't know if we're seeing it on the picture or not. The picture's kind of blinded because the sun's behind the machine. I can't do nothing about that right now. But yeah, a lot of dirt in there. Yeah, I'm just cleaning out these hex holes. They're 1/2 inch hex holes. Both my stump grinders, two totally different makes and different styles and sizes. They both take 1/2 inch. I don't know if that's just a shot of luck or it's the only two stump grinders I've ever had. But they both take 1/2 inch. We'll get a couple of those off of there, bring them inside and sharpen them. And of course they're all different. You can see these two here are both off to my left side while I'm facing the machine. The next two are one facing out to the left, the other one's facing out to the right. And here we got a straight one and a right. So there's three different kinds. There's straight ones, there's one's bent to the left and one's bent to the right. So I don't take them all off. I just take off a couple at a time and put them back on so that I don't have to find out from the book where they're supposed to go. This thing has holes in it every so often, like this one here, and there's this hole in this fender here. I've got a hole in the wheel lined up behind this where I can stick this bar in it, and that'll hold that still, because I may not be able to get these off with the impact wrench. I may have to use a breaker bar and a cheater bar. I usually wind up having to do that, so you just lock that up like that. The impact wouldn't get it, so had to use a breaker bar. I already cracked this one loose. only got to break one loose, really. The other one, the impact will get the second one off once you get the strain off of one. The reason why, because it's clamping this thing in there. That one wasn't too bad. That one might have come out with the impact. I give a thumbs up for this 1/2-inch breaker bar from Harbor Freight. It's been through some stuff, and it was cheap and it was really good. This is the kind of grinding wheel I use. It's this green grinding wheel for cutting carbide tip tools. Really, it's not the only grinding wheel, it's the only one I've used. I've been told that there's a diamond wheel of some kind or another that that does just as good. I don't know. But your standard grinding wheels, these gray ones, they won't cut it. They won't cut the carbide. The problem with these wheels, they are a little bit costly, but they spin really fast. They use up, see all this green powder on the bench here and on the floor down there? It's that's this cutting wheel. This is the, I think it's like a 80 grit one, this one. And this one's like 120 grit or something like that. I forgot which. This one does a smoother job and the wheel lasts longer, but it takes a lot longer to grind the thing down. So that's an 8-inch grinder there with a 1-inch wheel, and this is a 3/4 inch wheel on a 6-inch grinder, and I need another one. Here's one that's used up. Here's another one that's almost used up. So they go fast and I need to order some new ones. I got to get this thing out of here. It's not that hard to do, just kind of, well, it's not coming out so easy. I usually just tap it on the another one like that and it comes out, but this one's been in there for a while. Well, I got that tooth out of that holder, and I just wanted to show this rounded edge. I just cleaned it up on the brush wheel, and I just wanted to show that rounded edge there that needs to be brought out to a sharp pointed edge, and the only way to do that is to grind the whole front off of this. Probably we're going to be going down quite a bit, at least a 32nd of an inch all the way down, from the top all the way down, so that this flat has a sharp edge coming out in the front there. Since my cutting wheel is wearing down pretty thin, and it wears down, it throws a lot of sand off of it, it wears down really fast, I think I'm going to go on ahead, just grind this backing down on the regular gray wheel first, and then just touch it up on this green one. Looks pretty sharp to me. I'm going to do that to all of them. Putting this first set back on that I just sharpened, and as you can see, we got the shiny clean edge on there. I just want to say that it's kind of self-explanatory, but if you're not watching, you might stick them on there the wrong direction. All the teeth need to be facing the same direction, you know, the cutting side. In this case, it's facing down on all of these teeth when I'm standing on this side of the wheel. And the back of the tooth, which you can't see, maybe we can if I get closer. See that square in the middle there? That's got to be, doesn't have to be exactly, but that's supposed to be about even with the back end of this. And the same on this side. I'm just holding them carefully in that position while I go ahead and tighten them down. I'm going to snug one side down, and then I'm going to tighten the other side down a whole lot more, and then I'll come back and tighten this one down some more, because the block, or the tooth itself, actually sticks out a little bit farther than this thing here does. I don't know how much, maybe 10 or 20 thousandths or so thicker than the channel that the tooth is in, and so it comes out higher, and so this clamps it down that way. This doesn't actually clamp completely against the wheel because it's got the tooth holding it out just a bit. That's how it gets on there real tight. This one's in pretty bad shape. Let's see how much of that's worn off of there. I'm already grinding the bottom of it off. I just thought I'd better show that you can still do this. You can still just keep grinding this base off with your regular grinding wheel, and then cut this one down with the green wheel for the carbide. Then you may have to grind this down some more and just keep going back and forth until we get that horseshoe shaped, not horseshoe, but a horse hoof shaped edge on there. I'll show that in a minute. We're making progress. Just ground the carbide down a little bit. Now I'm going to grind the base down some more. Got that base ground down some more. Now we're going to hit that carbide again. And you know, I got a pan of water sitting here. I keep cooling this thing down. We're almost there. Got the right shape, but I still got just a little bit of a rounded edge on the front there. I'm going to pick that up just one more time, grind the base down, and then the carbide. Alright, we got that one done. That's the one that was in pretty bad shape. We probably took better than a 1/16 of an inch off the front of this thing at that same angle, approximately. It's not exactly the same. I mean, we're digging in the dirt and rocks and everything, so nothing has to be perfect on this. Some of these are hard to get the cutting tooth out of the holder, the pocket, and this one's not coming out, so I just thought, well, stick it in a vise. Careful not to clamp the tooth itself in the jaw. Keep the jaw below that, and you can just feel that with your finger in the back. And stick this in there and go ahead and pry it out. Very simple. I'm done with all the sharpening that I'm going to do for now. I left some of these inner teeth undone because they're not too bad a shape, the ones that are just cutting sideways, but the ones that actually cut into the top of the stump. I sharpened all of those all the way around. Now I'm going to clean some of the junk off of this machine with an air hose and I got a scraper and a wire brush down here. And I've got grease fittings. Every one of these moving points has a grease fitting. This one you can't see because it's hidden back around this side. I'll have to swing this thing back around this way to get to it. But while it's in this position, I'm going to clean up what I can, and I'm going to get to the grease fittings that I can get, like this one right here. Clean all this stuff off and get to these fittings and grease up everything I can. Every place at the end, each end of each cylinder is going to have a fitting, and each end of each joint that just pivots, like this one up here in the bottom, and of course up here, just like any hydraulic machine, just like Bobcat or excavator, backhoe, any of that, tractor. So I'm going to go ahead and start cleaning this thing up and get ready to grease it. Remember, when you are greasing any hydraulic machine, each end of every cylinder has, unless it doesn't pivot for some reason, unless one end is stationary, this one's going to have a fitting in here someplace. I'll find it. And of course on top here, and the motor doesn't get greased because it's got its own oil inside of it, of course. So I'm just kind of in a hurry because the sun's going to be going down in a minute. I want to have enough to do a video here real quick. This one here wouldn't take any grease. I had to take the fitting out. Here it is, the old one. Couldn't get the grease gun to even seal on the fitting. Grease just kept leaking around the outside of it. So I thought, well, it's rusty or something. It's not sealing up. So I took it out, and I could see that this end of it was dry, no grease. And so I thought, something's wrong. So I went on and took the fitting out, and the hole was dry. It was like it had dirt in it, not grease. I can't believe I forgot to change that fitting last time, because I grease this machine now and then. I must have thought, well, I'm going to get that next time around. I'm in a hurry, and I must have forgot about it. So I took this small screwdriver and dug all that junk out of there, blew air in it, dug some more out, blew air, sprayed some WD-40 in there, blew air, and then put the new fitting in, and then it took grease. So, sorry I didn't get that on camera while I was doing it, but that's what I did. Now, I've done all these fittings that I can get to pretty much on this side, so I'm going to start the machine up, and I'm going to bring this arm all the way back around to this side. I'm going to fold the whole thing around into this side here, because the fittings on this post are back here where I can't get to them, on the top and on the bottom, and that's what I got to do to get to those. And then this one here, I got to pull this all the way in, because the fitting on this is on the bottom and I can't reach that, so I have to pull this all the way down, and then that should make that fitting where I can get to it. Now that I got this cutting head tucked all the way down, now I can get at the fitting. It's right here on top. I can get to that one, and I can get to these now, top and bottom.